I posted on Reddit 5 years ago when I caught my newlywed wife cheating. I'm unsure if it was this group, maybe relationship advice group instead. Back to the point, my wife was cheating all through our engagement, marriage day, and even honeymoon. The best days of my life she was sending pictures of her naked body to another man every chance she had. Effing him while she was supposed to be in buying wedding dresses. I found out in worst way you can imagine. Even the consensus on Reddit was that she was beyond any second chance. A lot of stuff happened in between. I confronted her, then went back and forth on what I want, but in the end filed for separation. She seemed to accept my decision and stopped her pleading and trying to convince me to try again. She said if I have made my mind, she will try to at least make the divorce easier for me. We had really wild sex the day she signed the papers and handed them to me. I hated her touch but desired her body at the same time. She told me she was sad for herself but happy for me because I deserved much better than her. She broke down and said she had no reason to live anymore, but she will keep living because she doesn't want to bother me. In my mind, I called BS on that, but in reality, I kept silent and just left. I always had inferiority complex about wife. She is better than me in every way. Prettier, smarter, earns more, has way more friends. I also recognize now that I was heavily depressed, even before finding out. I joked earlier that she doesn't look good with a plain, middle-class guy like me. She should go be with some millionaire supermodel. She always said she finds such people shallow and boring, and she finds me beautiful too. So, when it came out, I concluded that she is just like that. She is a liar. Everything she has ever done or said to me is a lie. This image that she created in front of me, of someone who doesn't want anyone other than me, is a facade she created for whatever inexplicable reason. She never loved me, never thought I was attractive. She had sex with me and then go to the bathroom and send pictures of her body to him. She was just a liar and a cheat. That's who she really was in the inside. So, her claim that she had nothing to live for, her proclamations before marriage that I am the only person she really cares about. She will lose her identity if she loses me. I believed all of those before because she said them so lovingly and convincingly, but now I know they don't mean SHT. She has always lied to me. Just another manipulative statement. It's pretty obvious, or so I thought. My ex kinda disappeared after that and I moved on too. I got into a lot of new hobbies for the next 5 years. It was a long time. I also dated a lot of people, tried casual hookups for the first time in my life. I just felt numb. There was nothing of substance. I did not enjoy my time with other women. There was an adrenaline rush that was addictive but not long-lasting. But I did make a whole lot of what you could call friends. There were people to keep me company. I didn't feel alone at the very least. For the first time in life, I was able to actually confide in people, even about my hardest struggles and about the cheating also. Earlier, I wouldn't have dreamed of trusting anyone that much. Weird how being betrayed made me trust people more. I started dating too but couldn't click with anybody on the level I wanted. I floated in life this way for 5 years. Last week, I went on a solo vacation visiting many nearby tourist spots. In one such place, I saw my ex-wife in a roadside fast food restaurant. I immediately felt my heart drop. I had no intention of coming face to face with her, but she saw me before I could leave. At that moment, something changed. Maybe I just didn't want to make things awkward. Or maybe I right now figured out I actually needed some closure from her. I walked towards her, smiled at her like she was an old acquaintance, and asked if she was alone. She stared at me wide-eyed for 5 seconds, like she could not believe it was really me, and only then said yes faintly. It was a weird convo. We talked about very bland SHT at first, completely avoiding the elephant in the room. She started shaking then, and when I looked at her, she was crying. I asked what's wrong. She said she's dreamt about this day since we separated. When I very rudely told her I am not here to take her back as my wife, she said she knows and that she just dreamt of talking to me again. The entire convoy was basically just me trying to get a reaction out of her by asking and saying intentionally hurtful stuff while she patiently explained and told me things I've always wanted to hear from her, but never quite accepted it. Why I could not reconcile 5 years ago has a lot to do with this rage about her infidelity, and all this anger that gets the better of me. Seething anger, I can't think of nothing else but that. I could not look at her without wanting to do something bad to her. I always had anger issues. I didn't even entertain the idea of talking to her or asking her questions. I wanted nothing to do with her, full stop. She begged, pleaded. I felt nothing but rage. I could burn down the world with that much anger. Not quite as much as before, but that anger was still there. I don't even remember a whole lot of my questions and statements, but she just calmly sat there explaining everything from her perspective. never blaming me for anything, apologizing over and over, validated my feelings. I don't know why she did that, just know it felt really good to hear all that. I felt at peace. Later on, we moved out of the restaurant and walked on the pavements. She actually thanked me at the end for giving her a chance to say all of those things. She also told me she wants to be a part of my life again if I let her. We don't need to remarry if I don't feel comfortable. We can choose what we want to be for each other. I am actually seriously considering working out things with her now. But I also think, is this just a high? I know as a fact that I was denying myself closure by avoiding talking to her. I needed that closure about why she did it, if I was inferior or could not satisfy her in any way. I have listened to all the answers now, hence it feels like everything is resolved. Is that why I am now starting to think about her in that way again? Or do I actually want to be with her? With a cheater? I also think if it is possible for a cheating wife to feel so much regret and pain about her wrong decisions even 5 years later. She says she regrets it every single waking second of every minute of every day of her life for the last 5 years. She said she hated herself and she will have sold her soul to turn back the hurt she caused me. How can a person turn from a selfish boss to a supposed selfless being who only exists for me? That does seem a bit much. I worry about if I'm being manipulated by her again. If she did it once, she can do it again. Or is it me overthinking? I am just very confused. Reader comment. Seems like the reason you're confused is because you never really did any actual work on yourself to get over her and build yourself up mentally. Is it possible she changed? Sure. Is it likely? Meh. She told you what you wanted to hear when you were with her. Now she's telling you again what you want to hear. People can grow and change and mature. But everything you described about her painted her as having narcissistic tendencies and constant seeking of validation from other men. Without serious therapy, it's extremely unlikely she's made any progress on fixing those issues. So, the most likely scenario is that she hasn't changed much, and you haven't changed much. So, you immediately feel the same attraction for her you did before, it's just a redo. Original poster, I live in a s-hole place where going to therapy is treated the same as going to a mental asylum. And counselors that practice here are not competent. I heard some very negative things. I know I need help with many issues. I don't know if I can find it without leaving my country, or at least my town. And I'm not very keen on online options. Seems like a gimmick. My ex-wife got into spiritual discovery and meditation. She's even joined an ashram. It is not equal to therapy, but it is something. Neither of us are religious, but she does believe in the existence of some higher spiritual power. I personally think that's BS, but if it's helped her in whatever way, then good for her. Update. I want to believe her. It feels good to talk to her, to hear her voice even if it is over a call. She keeps asking to meet me, but I'm not sure if I want to meet now. I want to believe her when she says she waited for me all this time. When she says she didn't consider dating someone else for a single second while she was away from me. I feel so helpless again. I know our relationship has the potential to be amazing, but the fact is I don't trust her at all after all she did. She will go out for 5 minutes and I will imagine her booking a hotel room to F another guy. She's been really taking the initiative. When I asked if she's willing to give up access to her passwords, she offered to hand over her entire phone to me instead. I told her even if she does everything perfectly, it is still possible that it will not work out and we will both lose those years of our lives for nothing. She says she will be grateful for the chance even if things don't work out in the end. I get a feeling these are shameful answers. She doesn't really mean them. I have been really thinking about online therapy. Offline counseling is just not an option here. I talked to her about, and she was on board immediately. All I hope is that these emotions and gratefulness and vulnerability she's showing now is genuine, and not some kind of manipulation tactic again. Maybe I'm just paranoid, who knows? All these painstaking things she's prepared to do to restart our relationship, she would not have done if she did not actually love me. After all, I have nothing you wouldn't find in 1,000 other corporate job working class small town guys. I think I thought too lowly of her at some times. She gave me a great life pre-marriage. I don't have any deep knowledge about narcissistic people, but I don't think she is one. We've been together since we were both nothing. She helped me in both my dark times and even financially too. She never made me feel like a lesser man. In fact, she made me feel like I was the best man in the world. She was the one always planning surprises, arranging date nights, listen to me whenever I want to vent. I will say it, she was the perfect partner I could have asked for. Apart from the fact that she was sleeping with another guy while doing all that, obviously. I think she did love me in a weird effed up way. Either that, or this was all a facade. Was she enjoying making a fool out of me while making me think she was the perfect wife? Did she get off on it with her lover making fun of how gullible I was? But even that seems too far-fetched. It's like I have all the answers from her, but I still don't feel like I have closure because I do not trust her at all. Zero trust. And I don't hope for that 100% closure to ever come. I want to believe her though, because in the end I think the decision I see myself making is clear. I will at least try to work it out with her. Or that's the plan for now. Reader comment. She seemed to have a long messed up history with you, bro. That itself isn't a true nail in the coffin. The real question is what she has told you about why she did it. What had she learned? How has she changed herself to make sure she isn't that person? It isn't about the past when reconciliation. It's about if she is remorseful and has truly and deeply changed. Don't tell us about the past, man. Fill us in on the present. She sounds like she was a nasty piece of work. So, the present has to be perfect to be worth it. Is it? Also remember not to overcommit. Be cautious. Good luck. Original poster. When it came out, I asked her this and she said she grew tired of being a good and perfect person and she wanted to see how it feels being selfish and doing whatever she wants for a little bit. And then it got out of control because the guy fell in love with her, and she also developed feelings. She told me that she's sure there was something wrong with her, but she doesn't know how to fix it. I have not actually asked the same question again now. She might give a different answer now. I did not think about that. I don't know what perfect is supposed to mean. As long as she does not cheat, she is perfect to me as it is now. Update. Do you go in blind while starting to reconcile after wife's betrayal? My wayward ex-wife has shown me a lot of what is remorse, or I feel like is remorse. She told me she lost all feelings she had for a fair partner immediately after being found out. She called what she had with AP delusions. She told me she had some attachments with him, but it was not love. How is it even possible to lose feelings for someone that you had an affair with for a year in one day? She told me she has never reached out to him or even thought about him. Moreover, she said she hasn't dated or seen anyone else in 5 years, and no intention to do that in future as well. She regretted her decisions and cried almost every night. She has cut off all her friends who knew about the affair, and she did it years ago even without me asking. This thing would not have mattered to me, but now that she said them it really bothers me whether she is lying still. I don't know why they all feel like exaggerations and lies. That is my issue. It would have been fine if she had told me she reached out to AP after separating from me. Or she started seeing other men, but decided it was not worth it. Or she took a lot of time to forget about her feelings for AP. But now that she's said all these things, it feels like I need to know what the truth is. I have a problem with her lying, that is all. Now all she said to me, I have a gut feeling they are lies. Can I reconcile or start reconciling with that feeling without completely trusting her? I know trust is supposed to be gained back little by little, but it feels like a wrong thing to let her become close to me when my gut feeling is that she is manipulating me again. But I also spent 5 years with the conviction that my wife was the personification of evil, and everything she said was a lie or manipulation. It will be hard to rid of that conviction now. I'm not about to let her move in with me. We will live separate. I think I will try to date her now and also look for therapy. When she knew I was looking for therapy, she did her own research and also booked a demo online session for both of us separately. I told her about infidelity books that someone messaged me about, and she told me she's already read some of them and she'll order the rest. Surely, to me at least, it feels like she really regrets and she will do the necessary work. Is it the right thing to reconcile with zero trust though? Is it normal that people go into reconciliation with this huge voice in their head telling them they're being manipulated, and they will get hurt again? Reader comment. If you don't trust her or are able to forgive, don't try. It's been 5 years. If you haven't forgiven yet, I highly doubt you will. Most affairs are a fantasy, and they aren't in love with the person as much as they are with the fantasy, so it's possible of losing the attachment quickly. A day maybe not, but there is likely honesty in what she is saying. She loved the fantasy of what could be in no day-to-day life issues. When that crashed down, so did the reality of the fantasy. Update. Can't help feeling like a failure. I met her today. I felt a lot of anxiety on the way, and I don't understand why. Moment I saw her, it was totally opposite of how I felt last time. I wanted to hide and run away. I could not even speak, even though we had lots to talk about. I felt humiliated, did not want to be seen with her. She noticed and asked if it is better to meet some other time. I thought about it, and the thought of giving up and leaving was humiliating too. I just sat there frozen in time, not knowing what to do. I wished that I evaporated and didn't exist anymore. When I was sitting there next to her, she is looking at me, expecting me to say something or do something. I could not even find my voice, and then I thought, maybe it is a fact that I am weak-willed. If I was little more self-confident, would I have left? Am I only holding on to her because I am too scared to let go? So, I kept hanging on to this woman for 5 years even though she cheated. I don't like thinking of myself like that. But this is really a punishment. I never felt anything like this in life, so powerless, frozen, and weak. At the end, we did nothing. Just sat there and ate our lunch. She held my hand, but I had to ask her to stop. Even her touch felt suffocative. In the end, she just thanked me for being strong and thanked me for trying and asked me no need to force yourself to come. You are strong enough to even be able to look at me. And then I left, and as soon as I came back slept for 5 hours during broad daylight because if I didn't, I would be crying nonstop. But thing is, I still want to talk to her. Even after all that, I still want to go back and try to have a heart-to-heart with her again. Why? Is it because I love her and I see a future with her? Or is it because I am gullible, weak-willed and scared so I'm letting a cheating wife manipulate me again over and over? And is it normal to feel so shtty like this? Hopeful and almost happy one day, and suddenly completely hopeless and hard on yourself the next day. It will be very hard to live like this if this happens for the rest of my life. Reader comment, she is an extreme person. Her cheating was extreme. Her self-sacrifice in the past 5 years is extreme. Her actions toward you now are extreme. Can you see this? You put yourself down as a middle-class guy like millions of others, nothing special. But you never say that about her. She was 1 in a million. Never mind her, what about the person she cheated with? What kind of dude cheats with a woman who is getting married, gets married, and cheats on the honeymoon? These are not normal people, my opinion, my definition of normal. You don't say much about affair partner, so I don't know what's his major malfunction. Your wife too. What made her that way, able to do that? Something is missing inside her. Then the extremes. What do you make of the extremes? Greater than, and is it normal to feel so shy like this? Hopeful and almost happy one day, and suddenly completely hopeless and hard on yourself the next day. It will be very hard to live like this if this happens for the rest of my life. Extremes will do that to you. I have been with some extreme women, some of the highest highs I've ever had. But ultimately, not real in a long-term sense. I can't give you much advice. When I was young, I made a decision not to go backwards, so I don't really have anything to give you, good or bad. Original poster, why does she have to be such an extreme person? It is too much for me. I think what I will fit into is a boring, conventional life with a boring, conventional woman. Not someone who arrives like a whirlpool and destroys my sanity. I could not sleep last night at all. I was talking to her over text late at night. So, I finally asked about why she did it, what is wrong with her. She told me there is nothing apart from her selfishness. This is all she says she's thought about for 5 years. She could not find anything wrong with her as a person, or anything in her past like in the infidelity books. She just decided one day that she's had enough of being who she was and wanted to escape and have some fun without worrying about consequences. She keeps saying it's not about me. But should not she have stopped herself if I was important to her? Does not this mean I was never as important to her as she likes me to believe? I don't know what to make of that. Honestly, I have been avoided thinking about a lot of what she said. Update, I raised my voice at her today when I saw our engagement ring still on her hand. I will take a break to work on my anger issues. I have asked for a separation again. I cannot go through reconciliation because I feel like I'm a threat to her. It was such a small thing that I could have just asked about or told her to remove it. I don't know why. It felt like I lost control of myself. Some other person was behind the wheel, it felt like. This is not who I am. I didn't enjoy doing it, regretted it immediately. But the damage was done. Today is the first I made someone cry with what I said. This is abusive and I don't want to be like this. It is really scary for me too. I can't believe I did not notice when I met her. She still wears her ring. That disgusting ring that she wore while sending explicit pictures to her lover because he liked seeing her in her engagement ring. That ring she used as a plaything for her excitement. I know my anger is justified, but the way I reacted was not. More so, I don't trust her. What if she's trying to incite some reaction from me to get me into prison too? What if she sees me as her enemy too, like she started seeing her affair partner? This woman goes to extreme lengths. It feels ridiculous, but so are the other things she's done. I told her that it will be better to have no contact and continue to go to therapy. She again pulled what she always does, asked, "Are you sure?" And when I said yes, she said, "Okay, your choice, I will honor it." I feel very disappointed, mostly in myself. But I am also hopeful because this no contact time will help both of us in our journey. Edit, I forgot to say that I have attended the first online therapy session and it was way better than I expected. Thank you to the people who tried to convince me and the people who sent links to me. Definitely it is not a waste of time like I was thinking. I have booked the next week's too. Update, I'm a pathetic effing doormat. I feel weak and helpless again. It feels worse than on D-Day. We're now no contact and on break. I have told her not to contact me either physically or by texting. I felt good during the day. I felt positive because I know separation is a positive idea. It will give me time and space to do something about my anger fits, and also her to find her truth about why she had an affair and why she won't do it again. But tonight, I'm shaking. I'm crying and angry at the same time. I can't believe I'm effing thinking about her this much. I haven't stopped obsessing over what she's doing and if she's cheating again and making fun of me again. My imagination is becoming very vivid. Even my dreams. I saw one of their SX tapes that I saw reenacting right in front of me last night in a dream. I screamed when I woke up. The degree by which I felt useless, a failure, a fool, is beyond what I can write. I had to bang my head on the wall a few times to regain some thoughts. I feel like a zombie. Just like zombies think about eating flesh all the times, I think about her cheating on me all the time. I see a couch and my mind makes up a hallucination of her spreading her legs on it and her lover on top of her. I took LSD once and even those hallucinations were less vivid than what I'm seeing today. I'm effing losing my mind. I know what I need to do. I'm codependent on her. Even her therapist suggested to her that we both might be codependent on the other. I cannot ever get out of this effing trap. I don't think the reasons matter all that much, to be honest with you guys. It was simple as she got selfish and wanted 2 men at once. No reason or explanation will make me feel safe. I just need to accept it that she becomes a selfish, arrogant boss woman sometimes who cheats on me and hopes she'll come back every time to me. Even better, I can pretend I actually like it and convince her to do it with my permission. I have tried for 5 effing years to forget her. 5 years, that's 1/6 of my life and almost half my adult life. I still got drawn to her. I could not even find other women attractive. It's a trap and all I can do is accept my fate. Maybe therapy will save me, but I'm not keeping high hopes. The first person to send me a direct message here called me a doormat and I had to Google it because I didn't know what it means. Now I know what it means. Because I am one. An effing doormats. Update. What did you guys do when you're anxious? I'm on no contact with my ex-wife, so I'm not sure if I belong here. I'm not reconciling yet. But I am considering it strongly. I don't know how many BS did not contact with their wayward. But I never imagined it would be this effing hard. I pace from one part of the house to another or watch dumb Netflix reality TV. Without some distraction, the anxiety kills my effing mind. I literally cannot think about anything else. It's like a physical urge to grab my car keys and see what she's up to. I feel like bringing her here and make her stay in front of my eyes all the time or I will go insane. I am losing my mind, and that is not an exaggeration. My fingers visibly shaking as I type this. I figured out caffeine and energy drinks make me feel better, and only that is getting me going for now. How did you guys go through this? It can get me into a psych facility, and I have been thinking about it, but that will also mean a lifetime of judgment and avoidance by other people. I am not privileged enough to be in a developed country. The people here are weird about mental health, and think everyone who goes to a psychiatrist is insane and dangerous and should be avoided. I have literally seen this happen to a friend, and at this point I cannot handle further isolation from society, or I will lose everything. So that is not an option. I see no other option. I have to end this NC, or at least keep the textual communication going, and at the same time I can slowly talk about my anxiety problems and I want to read comments from other BS. Is this a good idea? Is it normal to feel anxiety? Am I just overreacting? Should I continue trying some more? Update. Moved in with ex-wife. I stopped the no contact last week, sent her a message the next day of my last posting. She offered me to send a picture of herself every half an hour, share the location, and do video calling anytime I want. She also told me that the only way I can feel 100% safe with her is if we stay together, and she stays in front of my eyes. Considering how I've suffered last few days, she's right. I did not want to do this, but last weekend I asked her to move in with me. Today is the first night we sleep under the same roof after 5 years. I have at least imposed that I'm not ready to sleep in the same bed or even same room with her, so she's taking the guest bedroom, and she agreed to do it without question as she always does. Today she also asked lots about what she's not supposed to do in the house. Like, am I allowed in your bedroom? Will you hate it if I prepare food for you? Are there some places you don't want me to go or something you don't want me to do in the house? It's like she knows exactly what to do, say, and do to make me feel better and nicer. She moves away when I say I'm feeling suffocated. She tells me to share if there's anything on my mind, even if it's the most disappointing and hurtful to her, because she wants to listen to my true thoughts. She also working on finding out her affair reasons in her therapy session and keeps telling me about what she's discovering. I know that is all efforts by her to make me feel safer, and honestly it helps me most days. But today I feel sick. Her cheating was mainly through us sexting late night, which she did after I went to bed. Sometimes also during day. Seeing her in the same house again brings back memories. It is a very big trigger. The biggest problem is that I cannot sleep. I couldn't sleep for a long time after D-Day also because she always cheated after I slept. Same thing is happening now. And she's in her room awake too because she probably feels bad for being the reason for my lack of sleep. She said she will sleep in her car for a few days if it helps me, but honestly it won't because the house itself is becoming something of a either I go sleep in the car tonight or it will be a sleepless night for both of us. Update: do wayward pain shop. I remember that when I found out I cried a lot while confronting her for the first time. I have lost my parents at a young age and the grief I felt on D-Day was worse. Someone I trusted with my life used that same trust to hurt me and got sexual pleasure out of fooling me. So I cried. I felt like my entire life, all I believed in was a lie. She was so surprised when I was crying, kept looking at me like she was seeing a unicorn. She was also crying and already started saying, "I'm sorry, I'll do anything, please give me a second chance." But she also didn't take her eyes off me for a single second. I asked her today about it. Why were you gazing at me like that on D-Day? And she said that sight of me crying is burned into her mind up to this day. She said she wanted to punish herself, so she forced herself to look at me so she could see for herself how much she hurt me. And she said it was much more than she thought. She did not expect that I will cry. She said she thought I will lose all respect for her and won't want to be with her at all. And that is why she was surprised. She also talked to me about her tendency to want to punish herself, that she apparently could not stop thinking about how I was feeling. And she went through her texts with AP all alone and imagined how I will feel reading them. She forced herself to remember how I felt and cried on D-Day, and then cried herself to sleep. She also went through self-deletion ideation, and the only reason she survived is because she felt like it will be an easy way out and she does not deserve that. She admitted she still feels a tendency to accept when bad things happen to her because of this feeling like she deserves it, and she's exploring all of this with her counselor. It is concerning to hear her talk about things like these, but glad that she's doing something about it in therapy. I still can't sleep in my own home. Unless I sleep outside, I have to do with short naps only. She's doing what she can. Firstly, she never takes her phone to her room, which would have been the biggest trigger. I don't think she has ever blame shifted because she always says it's all my fault and never says dumb stuff like "this thing led me to cheat on you." She also makes breakfast for me. I sometimes don't eat what she makes just to annoy her. I find myself wanting to make things harder for her, like going out without telling her, coming home late, willingly not communicating with her. But I'm also in therapy and these things. Therapy is good but very slow. We keep talking about the same things. But I have to admit that he gave me some good insights about